Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. 3 players Manchester United must sign in the January transfer window. We'll be talking about that, and of course this is in response to the suffocating blow that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has suffered in relation to Erling Haaland. You can dress it up, as I said last night, however you want, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted this player. And very interesting, some breaking news for you as well in relation to this. Mino Raiola has had his say. Now last night there was a lot of talk coming out of Manchester United that they'd pulled out of this deal because it was bad for football, that they wanted a release clause in there. And I said, look, to be honest with you, this, what are we Manchester United or are we Moral United? And the reality is this football club is on its knees and it has been getting worse for the last 6 years. And if the manager wants a player, surely you go and get that player. Yes, you might have to pay silly money, but that's the world we live in at the moment. Surely it's more important to get the player on the pitch than to just keep faltering as a football club and embarrassing yourselves. But Mino Raiola has come out, and these are quotes, and he has said, it was just a normal negotiation and the player has chosen a different path. If they want to blame someone, then fine, blame me, but the player is happy, he has made his choice, and we went through a normal process, i.e. there was no big demands, there was no release clause. He also says, I do not know if Manchester United are briefing this, but if they are, then they're covering their own loss, and that I find strange and disappointing. There was no fallout between me and Ed Woodward. So Mino Raiola, for the second time in about a week, coming out with straight hard facts that Manchester United Football Club are going to find very, very, very difficult to counter. He was the one who came out a week ago and said about Paul Pogba that, look, he wants to win trophies here, but this Manchester United are run like a business and not a football club. A lot of people latching onto that. You can't pick and choose. I don't like Mino Raiola. I liked what he said around Pogba a week ago, and I've got no reason to believe that he's not right here like he was a week ago. The point is, Manchester United are terrible at transfer negotiations, and this is well known within the industry. So I'm sorry, I think we've messed this up. I think we have messed this up. I don't think we've sold a very good deal, and I think we've missed out because we're incompetent. That's my interpretation. If you want to believe stuff that Mino Raiola's saying is not true, Erling Haaland's saying not true, if Manchester United want to make a public statement, then let them do it. But I don't believe it. The agent of the player has come out and said that it was a normal negotiation and that he's chosen his path to go to Dortmund. And that is a damning blow for Manchester United. 3 players we do need to sign though, and I'm going to start off with Timo Werner, but there's another little breaking news. In fact, Chicharito Hernandez has made a contribution. Thank you for that. He says, Mark, according to Sky Sports, we're interested in signing Gedson Fernandes from Benfica in January. What do you think about that? And welcome to Joshua Sapul, who is the latest member. I was going to talk about Gedson Fernandes anyway. If you don't know anything about him, he's a 20-year-old. He plays off the right-hand side but can play in the middle as well. Fast, skillful, young player. Hasn't been playing for Benfica because he's fallen out with them. And apparently he's got a release clause of about £104 million. And his representatives are trying to get him a loan-to-buy deal over in England at the moment. This is the story from Sky Sports. United has suggested. To me, this just sounds a little bit left field, even though he's a right winger. I don't trust the Portuguese press. I think we've learnt our lesson there in relation to Bruno Fernandes last summer. In relation to the Portuguese press, that deal was done, wasn't it? I mean, that's not where I'd heard it from, but the Portuguese press, you would have thought it was happening. We've seen it with Gayton before, who was also Benfica. So I wouldn't really trust this. I also don't think it's the right sort of deal for Manchester United, because this is a player who's fallen out with his club. And we want a player like that. And it's not Gedson Martins, by the way, it's Gedson Fernandes. So look, if we are in for him, it solves a problem. But to me, I think Manchester United need to be thinking a lot bigger than that. Mark, what do you really think we'll get Werner? Says Lacan Obeg. Well, let's get into the point of the show. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Smash a like on the video, everybody. Transfer news is coming in thick and fast now. Let's look. 3 players Manchester United must sign in January. And I say must because these are positions that we need to strengthen in. Manchester United, for me at the moment, are on the brink. I think they're on the brink on the football pitch in relation to their results. It's very topsy-turvy. And I think in relation to what's going to happen in January, I'm fed up of saying this, and maybe I'm the only one thinking it, but I can categorically see what's going to happen. We don't have a squad to see out this season. We've already struggled at the start. We've got a chance to top 4. We're in all the cups. But we can't. I think we'll have a good January, but a terrible February and March if we don't sign players. That squad has not got any depth in the midfield, and it's got no depth up front. 3 positions. We play a front 3. We've got 4 players to play there. We've got Greenwood, we've got James, we've got Rashford and Martial to play in 3 positions over 30 games left in the season potentially. How do you do that? And there is nobody who can play those positions. Lingard can't do it, Mata can't do it, and Gomez and Chong probably will be gone in January. So we've got to sign an attacker. But United, if you want to believe sources, there's sources coming out today saying it's highly unlikely we'll sign anyone in January now we didn't get Haaland. But we've got to sign players in January because we can't be this club that keeps putting the foot on the brake and going, but we're planning for next summer. You've got to plan for now. You've got an opportunity right now to go and get top 4, but you need to buy players in. And that, to me, is why Timo Werner is really important. He is a player that RB Leipzig have come out with quotes again saying they cannot stand in the way of the player if there is a better project for him. He is effectively available at the right price. Of more interest with Timo Werner is in the summer of 2020, so next summer, a release clause is reported to kick in of 60 million euros, which is about 55 million pounds. So if you went to RB Leipzig in January and said, we'll give you 65 million now, or we'll take him for 55 in the summer, they'll probably go, yeah, we'll do it. But even if it was 70 million, this is not a young up-and-coming Haaland. I was happy with signing Haaland. That was the one that Ollie wanted. You go with what the manager wants. But I did say, and you can check the videos out, I would prefer Werner over Haaland because Werner is more of a flair player. He's got, he can get past the player. He's got a good shot. He's quicker. And I think Timo Werner would fit in with United better. I think we obsess about having this plan B where we can hoof a long ball up. But we don't need a plan B like that. We can have quick forwards. Did Liverpool ever go route one with a 6'5" striker? No, they don't. And they're the best team in the world. I think United just need depth in those positions. And Timo Werner could play across where Dan James does, where Martial does, or where Rashford was. And he's 23. He's 24 I think in March. He is a ready-made player to come into this club that will give us straight away rotation access to rotate the players, but straight away be demanding to start games. And you need that. We need that with our forwards. We need strength in depth and we need numbers. And I think Timo Werner, look, I can tell you for a fact, Chelsea are sniffing all over him. And United, look, whether we are or we're not, I don't know, but we definitely should be. He's exactly the sort of player that Ollie should be looking at. So far this season, and I've only gone with Bundesliga games here, he's played 17 games, he's got 18 goals, and he's got 6 assists. And in the Champions League, he's got 3 goals and 1 assist in 5 games. He's a proven player. He's a proven player at the top. And I think for me, Timo Werner would be exactly the sort of player that if you miss out on Haaland, you've got to go somewhere. So where are we going now? There was talk of Mandzukic. He's gone off to Qatar. There's talk of Moussa Dembele at Lyon. Well, I'm not convinced. I think this is the guy to go and get him now, because we're not getting Haaland now, and we do need a striker. So who are Manchester United looking at now? And don't tell me Callum Wilson, because I'll cry just because he's got a British passport. Go and get the best that you can. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think he's available in January, and I think a deal can be done, and United need to be ruthless. But I'll tell you this, United don't do quick deals. You know it and I know it. We don't go, we've missed out there, let's go and do this. We're slow. We argue about every single pound. I mean, look, there was no competition for Wan-Bissaka and it still took a month. There was no competition for Harry Maguire and it still took a month. The reason being, United like to go for a player and spend weeks negotiating the best deal they can. And United always come unstuck when there's competition for a player. And you look at what's happened with Haaland. We have obviously thought Ollie's managed him before. Ollie knows his dad. We're Manchester United. And we've missed out. We've missed out because he's gone somewhere else that he'd rather go to. And this is United when there's competition. We're terrible. And it's, I'm bored of saying it, but it's top to bottom a bloody joke with United. But they've got to start signing these sort of players. Because I was thinking about this morning. If this rebuild that we keep hearing about, in 3 years we're going to be fine, 3 years we're going to be fine. But even Gary Neville and Scholes, who are very pro-United and very pro-Ollie, they do say what we say. They've got to go out and sign 3 or 4 experienced players. And Timo Werner would be that player. He would be that quality player. But we can't. How can Ollie keep talking about building for the future when he's not getting the bricks? He's got to be given. It's like with Haaland, well, we really wanted that striker. We missed out because we're inept. We won't bother now. Oh, we're still going to be winning the title in 3 years then when we're not getting the players that the manager wants to improve? Yeah, we'll still be fine in 3 years. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realise United are screwed. They're not getting the players they need in, and they've got no plan B. That makes me want to cry. Player number 2, who I really do genuinely think is available, is Jadon Sancho. Now, look, I said last night I don't think Jadon Sancho can come to Manchester United. Daniel Ross says, how would Werner fit into our attack without stinting the progression of Rashford, Martial, James and Greenwood? Would the midfield not be a priority? Daniel, thanks for the contribution, but I absolutely see this all the time and totally disagree with it. And I've already given you my explanation. We play with 3 attackers every game. We've only got 4. Like, you cannot operate like... We used to play with 2 up front and we had 4. Like, if you think back to Sheringham and Cole, you had York and Solskjaer. Like, if you're playing with 3 forwards, you can't have just 4. There's not enough depth. What if Dan James pulls his hamstring for a month? What if Marcus Rashford twists his knee and he's out for 3 months? You've got you've got Martial and Greenwood to play in 3 positions. It's not good enough. Thanks for that. You've just absolutely messed up the lighting on here. Thanks. Really, really good idea. Well done. No, well, you shouldn't have done it. I'm actually live. Oh, I tell you what, you despair. You despair. I'm going to do a live show. Please don't walk in because it's really sunny there and it will blast over me like an Oompa Loompa. And that's what happens. Oh, I'm working with amateurs. Anyway, look, it wasn't a family member, don't worry. What I was talking about is, yeah, we've got to go out. We have to, I know people are worried about Greenwood and Martial and Rashford, but we have to sign players. We have to sign players because we need depth. And all you people saying, well, it's going to stunt Greenwood, it's going to stunt James. Well, what if they both get injured in February and you're left with Martial and Rashford? What have you got? You've got to have squad depth. And to be honest with you, I don't give a shit about Martial or Rashford or Greenwood or James, having their progression stunted. I tell you what, man up. It's Manchester United. Man up and fight for your spot. And I think we're already seeing that with Dan James and Greenwood. They are 100% responding to that competition for the spot. And that's great to see. And I want to see that. So I would bring him in. Jadon Sancho, I think, is a real concern. Dortmund have obviously signed Haaland now. And if Dortmund are now looking to move Jadon Sancho off, there is a real fear that Chelsea might go in and say, we'll do what we did with Pulisic. We'll sign him now. He comes to us in the summer. You've got him till the end of the season. There's a real concern that this could happen. So with Jadon Sancho, it's not necessarily we sign him in January to come in January, but United need to be all over that. If Chelsea are going to do that again, like they did with Pulisic, then United need to be all over that. We could sign Jadon Sancho in January and loan him back till the summer. And United need to be all over that. And I know it doesn't solve a problem for now, but it certainly gives us a player who, I mean, look, statistically in the Bundesliga this year, this is Jadon Sancho. He's played 14 games, he's got 9 goals, he's got 9 assists. I mean, he ain't messing about. He's a star quality player. He's only 19 years of age, and there might be an opportunity there for Manchester United to go and get him. Look, if we can get him in January, great. But if you can get him in January and he comes in the summer and he gets loaned back to Dortmund, I'm really fearful of this one. I think with Werner and Sancho, I'm very, very fearful that Chelsea could snap them both up. And if they do that, then what are we? And I think United fans this season, we've all been guilty of it. We get lost in this pool of despair and like lowered expectations. And the reality is, we need to go and get players in to get better. I've said this many a time, some of you have as well. We need to buy our way out of this problem. And we need to buy our way out of this problem for 2 reasons. One, the squad's no good. It's not good enough. There's not enough players that are good enough between the age of 23 and 33. It's not good enough. There's not enough experience there. So we need to buy some. Also, the youth are too far away. And also, youth will not solve this problem. Class of 92 had senior players around them, leaders like Keane and Cantona and Schmeichel to develop them and nurture them. Even if we have 7 or 8 brilliant youngsters coming through, which we don't, they're not coming into the first team and solving our problems. We need players in. We've got to buy our way out of this problem, and we've got to buy ourselves out of this problem correctly. And what scares me, and I spoke about this last night as well, what scares me is United are saying, we're only going to buy players that want to come to this football club. That's all we're going to do. And they tried to get Erling Haaland. He didn't want to come. You lose out. If you go and sign Christian Eriksen, he doesn't want to be here. He's only coming here because of that. It's another Alexis Sanchez. So that's a hypocritical thing. You also get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying, the money's there, I'm only going to go for the right players. I'm not going to go beyond my... If I can't get the player I want, I'm not going to get somebody. Which I think is idiotic, because you didn't get Haaland, who you really wanted, so now you're not going to get anybody. You didn't get Longstaff in the summer, so now you didn't buy a midfielder. It is what Solskjaer is. Inexperienced. You can't just go, that's the present I want, I'm not having anything else. I wanted a PlayStation, I didn't want an Xbox, throw it in the bin. Like, you've got to, at the high end of football, and we always know that Mourinho had 4 choices for every position, you've got to have a tier. If you don't get Haaland, you've got to go for Werner. If you don't get Longstaff, you should have gone for Bruno Fernandes in the first place. You've got to have tiers. But the problem is, the tiers we're getting is Ollie sat there today crying because Erling Haaland snubbed him. I brought you up at Mulder. I taught you everything I knew and you've snubbed me. You've gone to Dortmund. Sod him. Go and get somebody else and get a backbone. And that's what United need to do. But the worrying thing is, Ollie says the money's there. I'll get the players I want. Well, you just didn't. You just didn't get the player you wanted. And all this talk of players coming in and wanting to play for the club, but we might go and get Eriksen, who clearly will only come for money. A lot of United's future vision at the moment is in danger of being a smokescreen, which is what some fans think it is. For everything they say, give it 2 months and there'll be hypocrisy in it. Oh, I've got the money if I want it. We're only going for players that we really want. Yeah, you didn't get him. Oh, we're only going to bring players who don't want to be here. Yeah, we're linked to Eriksen again, who doesn't want to be here. Oh, we're all about the youth. Yeah, Gomez and Chong are about to leave. You know, everything they say at the moment, you can find criticism in. And of course that's life, but United are in very, very big danger if they do nothing in January, is what I'm trying to say. Why don't we look at someone like Sabitzer, a centre attacking midfielder, says Football Barca. And Benito Laplano says, hey Mark, what do you make of this rumour Fernandes from Benfica, loan with option to buy? I mean, the only thing I would say about it, Benito, and I've spoken about it at the start of the video anyway, please do smash a like. Lots of people watching. Let's see if we can get a couple of thousand likes while we're live. Transfer shows are kicking in on the United stand now, so make sure you subscribe. This Gedson Fernandes link is coming from Sky. We know from the summer that Sky were quite good, but I wouldn't trust Portugal. I wouldn't trust Portuguese sources. I really wouldn't. And this, to me, does totally scream of a player that's been frozen out by Benfica and is now looking to get a move. So who do you link yourself with when you're generating a move? Manchester United. We've seen it time and time again. So I don't think there's anything in it. I don't think it's worth spending our time on it. And what I would say is, if United go and sign Gedson Fernandes from Benfica, who's 20, and he's not really set the world alight, you ain't getting a Jadon Sancho in the summer. So, for all the excitement about, oh, yeah, Gedson Fernandes, some young winger I've never heard of from Benfica, there's a negative in that. We ain't getting Sancho then, are we? We're not. You know, another big player we should be going for. No, we're going to go for some unknown lad from Portugal, which worked out once before. There was a lad called Ronaldo, so let's not say it's a dead duck, but I don't believe it. And the third player I want to talk about is Kai Havertz. Now, Kai Havertz is available from, and there's a German connection today. Kai Havertz is available from Leverkusen, but he'd be available for £80 million, and they would be looking to listen to offers for him. He's not set the world on light. He's not got loads of goals and assists this year, and this is why this is not the third player United need to go and sign. I just want to mention Havertz, and I want you to look at his value there. £80 million, 20 years of age. I think this season he's got 2 goals and 1 assist in 14 games in the Bundesliga. I tell you what, Jack Grealish, like, you know what? Jack Grealish has got better Premier League stats than James Maddison, and he's playing in a relegation side. I live in the Midlands. Jack Grealish is a bit of a divider even amongst the Villa fans, because some of them think he's a bit of a big-time Charlie and some of them think he's absolutely brilliant. What I would say is, his first season in the Premier League, he's got brilliant stats in relation to goals and assists. He's a young lad. He ain't going to cost 80 million like Havertz. And Aston Villa are in big shit, because if they get relegated, they've overspent in the summer. They spent a lot of money to stay up. If they go down, they've got to sell. So Jack Grealish is exactly what Manchester United need as an attacking midfielder. We all talk about James Maddison. You might have to pay 100 million for James Maddison. You might only have to pay about 40 to 50 for Jack Grealish. Half the price, same stats. Who's going to be the better player in 2 years' time? I don't know who's going to be the better player between Grealish and Maddison, but I know that one of them's half the price than the other, and I know one of them could be bought in January. So, look, I'm not... I'm very rarely on the fence. But Maddison, to me, or Grealish, I don't know. And I think we need somebody now. Like, I'm scared that in January, the 3 bits of news are going to be this. We sign nobody. Chong and Gomez sign pre-contracts to go abroad and leave in the summer. And Jesse Lingard scores a tap-in against Norwich at home. And within a minute, they announce this 5-year contract, which I'm pretty convinced has been signed for a long time. They're just waiting for some positivity around Lingard to announce it. And that would be our January transfer window. So if you're saying to me, we could go and get Jack Grealish, I would do it. I would do it. I'm as a Manchester United fan now, I don't believe that we are the club we think we are. I think the owners think we are. I think the owners are very arrogant. I think they think we're Manchester United. People should come here. But I think fans realise, well, we are Manchester United and we're not going anywhere. And this club is an amazing club. But I think we're awaking to the fact that we're only a big club by name. The way we've played and the way we've performed and the way we act from top to bottom over the last 6 years is no better than an Everton. And I think the club need to stop it and wake up. And either they go for people like Timo Werner and Jadon Sancho, or they start going for people like Jack Grealish and Dan James and people like that and try and build the club up. And that's the 3 players I would go for in January. They're all available. Yeah, it's going to cost them a bit of money, but Sancho to come in the summer, Jack Grealish to come in January, and Timo Werner to come in January. And those 3 players, I would argue with anybody, will massively improve Manchester United overnight. And that's what we should be looking to do, because the future never comes if you don't act in the present. 442 says Joshua Sapul. Timo Werner said about a year ago that he's more Man United than Liverpool. It's his dream to play in the Premier League, but also for a team that's chasing titles. We are desperate for a director of football. Joshua, look, Manchester United can do anything, apparently. This is what was always said by Ed Woodward. And I don't see it. I think when United make a statement, whether it's Ed Woodward or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wait 2 months and they'll totally contradict themselves, because that's what's happening at the moment. And for anybody who's joining a little bit late, Mino Raiola has come out in the last hour and said it was a normal deal for Erling Haaland, and it's sad that Manchester United, if they are leaking these stories out about major release clauses and everything, there was no fallout. Erling Haaland had normal negotiations with all clubs and chose to go to Dortmund because it was the better footballing vision. That's from Mino Raiola. So Manchester United, I would say, there's either fake stories going out, or United have briefed the press to say we backed out because of silly money and it's bad for football. Well, Mino Raiola's come out and said that's not the case. Erling Haaland just chose Dortmund. It was nothing to do with anything else. And that is exactly what I said yesterday. United have taken a massive L on Erling Haaland. Ollie wanted him and he's gone to Dortmund. And that's it. And that's life. Sometimes you get snubbed. To me, I see United fans arguing about it on social media. Oh, we were right not to go for him. Another one's going, we've took a massive L. To me, the bottom line is he's chosen to go somewhere else. We wanted him, he's gone somewhere else. Whether we were right to refuse to pay the money, whether the money was normal and he just chose to go somewhere else, I don't really care now. He's holding up a Dortmund shirt. He's gone. He's history. I've seen this happen with Eden Hazard. You try and justify it. They've chosen somebody else. What a big club should do is not go, wow, I don't want anyone else. It was him or nothing. Nah, that's petulance. We should have 2 or 3 other players that we go for. And Timo Werner should be the player that we go for. And that's what Manchester United should do. Scholes said 2 midfielders could make us very good, says Shalandra Ray. I think we all agree with that. And Mark, why was my super chat deleted? Noticed a few other super chats also. I mean, Sonny B, that's a really odd thing to ask me because I'm hands free. So how can I tell you that? I'll have a look into it for you though. But yeah, look, the saddest thing as well is I've not even mentioned the centre defensive midfielder, because I don't see United signing a centre defensive midfielder. I really don't. So I mean, look, I'd go for Emre Can. I think Sokoria is a good player as well, but I don't see him leaving in January. Emre Can we could get in January, but if I can just be honest, and I'm always honest, but if I can just be honest and say this, Manchester United Football Club in relation to transfer negotiations are a relegation candidate. We've been bad at it for years and we're getting worse. And we're getting worse because we're just arrogant. We're arrogant. We think, we go into negotiations, we're Manchester United. We're going to get the best deal. The world don't work like that anymore. It's Equality Street. you know, everybody's got money. And you can't just live off the name Manchester United when you've fucked it up over the last 10 years. Like, we're not winning titles. We're not in the Champions League. It's a name that you use to make money. That's what the Glazers use us for. And we can't use that in transfer negotiations. You've got to be professional. You've got to be ruthless, and you've got to be aggressive. And the reality is Manchester United in transfer negotiations are slower than a snail, and they embarrass themselves year after year after year. And until we change that, you know, what did Woodward say a couple of months ago in his scripted interview he did with that fanzine? We're getting it right now with the transfers. You know, we're not going to be held to ransom. We've made mistakes in the past. We're getting it right now. We're identifying players that the manager wants with fusion with young players. 2 months later, that sentence has been absolutely flipped and proven to be a load of nonsense. Nothing's any different than it was last year, the year before that. You still take too long on transfers and you still mess them up. And I think about Perisic with Mourinho. I think about Fernandes last year. You can go back year after year after year. Go back to Moyes, Kroos, Fabregas, you know, Bale. These were all players we were negotiating for and we got none. And it's the same people doing the negotiations. They should have been sacked a long, long time ago. They've missed out on Haaland, which is a player that our manager wanted, and they've not delivered again. They're incompetent, and they'll just keep putting stuff out there and coming out with stuff about this time we're going to get it right, and 2 months later they've got it wrong again. They're not fit for purpose. Those negotiations of transfers at Manchester United needs totally and utterly changing. They are not fit for purpose. They are not delivering what the manager wants yet again. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. We'll be back again at 8 o'clock with an Arsenal preview. We're building towards that. We've been interviewing with Robbie today, actually. But it all kicks off now. Do I think we can get Sancho, says Lachlan Auberge. I think Manchester United can get anybody, but not with these people who negotiate. They don't have a bloody clue. And I'm fearful that Werner will go to Chelsea, Sancho will go to Chelsea, Havertz will go to Bayern Munich, and we'll end up with nothing. Because we're incompetent. That's the problem. Manchester United, wherever you look, we're incompetent. Fitness department, coaching, players, recruitment, board. It's all not fit for purpose, and we wonder why we're failing. And, you know, for everybody who says it doesn't matter that we missed out on Haaland, this is a player that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted next week to help us over the next 4 or 5 months. We're now not going to have that player. And if there is no replacement coming in, we're not getting the player that we're not getting a player that Solskjaer wanted to improve us over the next 5 months, 5 years. So who are we getting? It's a mess. Thanks everyone for watching. Shearer snubbed us and we went and got Cantona, says Johnny Visual. Exactly. Being snubbed's not a problem if you've got players that can come in. Speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Back at 8.